Now let's welcome in Villanova head coach Jay Wright to the 24/7 Sports Social Distance feature. And Coach Wright sporting some facial hair. That's something we're not used to.
Yeah, man, it's nothing really glamorous. Purely the coronavirus, stay-at-home beard, lazy, not having to face anybody except on Skype, so I'm good.
How familiar were you with Skype and Zoom before all this?
Didn't really do it that much. Once in a while I do a Skype, once in a while on TV, but man, we're getting good at it now. I'm actually getting very comfortable with it. I'm thinking recruiting wise, some of these visits could be much easier. Save us some time.
Yeah, no question. What's been the most challenging aspect of the quarantine for you personally?
I think just missing being around the guys and being around a team. One good thing is our place here is packed. Patty and I went from being empty nesters to having everybody home, plus 2 girlfriends, 2 dogs, and a cat. So the place is rocking here. That part's, as tough as this is, a lot of people who are suffering with illness. That part's been kind of good. We're all hanging out together, but I just miss being a part of a team every day, and going in there and seeing the guys. And then when you Zoom and you see their faces, it's kind of cool to see how we all get excited about seeing each other. And it tells you, you get the feeling of how valuable those relationships are.
Yeah, for sure. What are you doing with your extra free time? You watching any shows? You picked up a new hobby?
I'm boring. I'm reading a book from one of our board of trustee members who was a longtime executive at Fidelity, built the Fidelity business, wrote a life story. I'm reading. It's actually really interesting, but no one else, but probably a Villanova guy would like it. And I'm watching more movies. And I never watch. I'm always watching games to prepare us for our next game.
Right.
I never go back and watch games, but I've really enjoyed having the time going back and watching the Villanova 85 game, the 16 game, the 18 game. Fox's had on our Kansas game, our Big East championship game against Providence. I've never done that. I've really enjoyed watching those games.
It's funny you bring that up because I was going to ask you, I know the 2016 championship game was on TV, and I saw a bunch of your former players tweeting about it and throwing shots at North Carolina guys. What was the best part about kind of reliving that on TV?
That was funny. Those guys were funny with that. I'm glad I wasn't in on that with them. They could have gave me some good shots, but I just to talk about the social media part, I did talk to Ryan Archidiakono the next day about something totally different, and he said to me, Coach, we were all watching that, and said my girlfriend never really watched that before I think she was at the game, and she's like, at that one point in the second half when I turned the ball over, and she's like, wow. Coach was really yelling at you, man. He was. She's like, he never, and he goes, I never noticed it either. It never bothered me when you did it, but I watched it on TV. It's like, wow, you were getting into me. So I was like, yeah. I said, I didn't realize you had 2 turnovers in the second half. I remembered 1. I didn't realize you had 2 until I watched the game. But the cool part of that was, I watched that game one time on my laptop. When we got home, more like we watch every game to complete our scout, so that if we played them the next year, we had everything kind of coded and solidified. And I had never watched it since. I saw Chris Jenkins shot a lot. People would send that to me, but I never watched the game. So our whole family got to sit down, we ate pizza, and it made it like a party. We all watched it together. and there were so many, just like I never realized Michael Jordan was interviewed during that game, or where he was sitting, or seeing Coach Massimino and Ed Pinkney and Mike Fratello behind the bench, and our old assistant Tom Pecora, and just seeing all the stuff that was going on around you that I never realized before was really enjoyable.
I'm sure you've been asked this before, but since you watched it again, and I'm sure that at times in your career you've kind of pictured what winning a national championship would look like. Did you ever think that you would be able to be that stoic in that big of a moment?
No, you know, you you dream about winning a national championship, and you know, you think one of the two that really hit me is I remember Jimmy Valvano in '83. I was that was my senior year in college, watching him run around hugging everybody,
Hmm.
and then in '85 I just started in coaching and watching Rolling Massimino and his whole staff hugging him. I always thought like that's what it would be. Um, I don't know what I do. I know what I was thinking, and it's kind of embarrassing looking at it now. You kind of look like a heartless ogre. Uh, but I really, I was so, I know what I was thinking. I was so proud of the way our guys came out of that huddle after we had screwed up so much before that 4.7 seconds. The confidence that the guys maintained, and how they were saying attitude to each other, like all we can worry about is the next play. I was so proud of them. I was saying to myself at the time, hey, whatever happens here, I'm so proud of these guys and their mentality, and they're going to be able to take this into life. And I know like this shot's just going to be, it's in God's hands. Is he going to choose for us to win it or not? And he did. And I was like, wow, how humbling is this? That's what I was thinking. Like, I can't believe this. Do we really deserve this?
Right.
That's what I was thinking. And trust me, I got to celebrate a lot after that with the guys. I didn't look like such an ogre.
Well, what's the obviously there's a lot going on in the world right now with the coronavirus, the quarantine. Didn't get to play the NCAA tournament. Didn't get to play the Big East tournament. From a personal standpoint, what's the thing that you're going to miss the most about not getting the experience of playing the NCAA tournament this year?
Well, first, Evan, I think this has hit us all with just a great perspective that I hear a lot of nice people say to me, "Oh, I feel bad for your kids. They didn't get to play in a tournament," and I know what they mean. But we talked to our players about this, that not playing in the tournament is so minimal compared to you watch people dying from this virus, and you watch the people that are in the hospitals with them, working with them, the nurses, the doctors, the EMTs, and you see the people that are driving trucks to bring us food and delivering stuff to the house. Uh, it just gives us a perspective of who is really important in this world. It's those people, not the athletes, even though we probably get a lot more attention than we should. I think that's been very clear to all of us. And, in terms of our little world of the tournament, it was a really interesting year for us. Every year we say, let's be the best basketball team we can be by the end of the year. Let's play our best version of Villanova basketball we can by the end of the year. Let's see what happens during the year, during this journey to get there, to be the best we can be until we run out of time. And this was really a cool year where, we didn't have any seniors, and our juniors were really starting to step into leadership roles. Our sophomores were starting to get it. Sadiq Bey, as a sophomore, was really starting to become one of the best players in the country. And
Right.
as a matter of fact, he got named the Julius Erving Award winner today. And our freshmen, by the end, Sadiq, Jeremiah Robinson Earl, and Justin Moore were really starting to play like veterans. So we felt like, no matter what we did all year, we're really playing good basketball right now. We had won 8 out of 9 down the stretch. We won on the road at Seton Hall, at Georgetown. We were feeling good, man. Like,
Especially in a year where it was so wide open.
yeah. That in our small world, and the little bit that this means, we really kind of, we kind of got shell shocked there when we got hit with it, because we were ready. We were having lunch watching the 12 noon game, ready to go into our first Big East game against DePaul. We were ready. We had done everything. We did our walkthrough. We felt like we were ready to win this tournament, which I'm sure a lot of teams felt. But, it's going to be one of the things we'll always remember. You'll never know where this team got to, and you don't, all the lessons you tell the guys about, we tell our guys all the time during the year, don't worry about things. Don't worry, because the things you worry about never happen. And then the things you never think of are usually what happens. And This is the greatest example. We say it all the time. This is the greatest example. And we always say to them also, value every day playing together, because even though everybody in this team is supposed to come back next year, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if we're going to get to play next year. We always say it every year. I've said it for every year of our career. And now it's happening. Like, you don't know if Jeremiah is going to be back. You don't know if Sadiq's going to be back. That 1 year they had to play. And I think the good thing that they'll learn is they did give everything they had every day. If that was the only year that Jeremiah gets to play for Villanova, or the only 2 years that Sadiq gets to play, they gave it everything they had, and they can't look back and say, hey, I was waiting for next year. Everyone on that team just gave a great effort, and we're going to use this as a great example the rest of our coaching career.
Yeah, you mentioned Sadiq Bey and how well he played, and really he improved his stock across the board from an NBA standpoint. Jeremiah Robinson Earl too. Have you been able to have conversations with those guys about their future and if they're going to go to the NBA and kind of where that sits?
Yeah, we talk about it a lot. The first thing we're going to talk about is what's the timetable going to be? What are we going to do here? I'm starting to get a feel that the NCAA is going to be open to trying to work with these guys and give them every opportunity to get as much information as possible. And just like everything, Evan, that happens with the NCAA, we're all subject to the NBA's decisions first.
Right.
It's like this one and done thing, which drives me crazy. But everybody blames college basketball. Why do they make these guys go for 1 year? It's the NBA.
Right.
It's the players' union, and I hope we get to the point where the players' union allows these guys to come out of high school and go to the NBA and go to the G League, right? But the NBA is going to do what they do. They might not even play a regular season. They might just play the playoffs, and they can't have their draft until after the playoffs.
No question.
That could be in August or September. So, what are these guys going to do? And the NCAA already has their timetable set up based on the NBA's draft, but they haven't changed. The NBA hasn't changed their timetable yet.